Well, tough stretch. Won't get any easier as we head to Texas A&M. Playing them for the second time. We played them a couple weeks ago. Here, and so it's obviously a lot different the second time you play somebody, especially on the road, as we saw when we went to Tennessee. So we're gonna have to be a lot sharper. They lead the league in turnovers forced and steals. So we're gonna have to be clean with the ball. That's obviously been a big issue for us all season, and in particular the last few games. So we need to clean that up if we're gonna give ourselves a shot on the road.
Well, you kind of intimated the other night that it's part health issues, but it's also other things. Are you just not getting to them, or I mean, you've kind of alluded that in the past, but are you not getting through to them?
No, I mean, look, I mean, we were in a great rhythm early, and we're out of rhythm, we're out of sync, and we've got to find something to ignite us to get us back in rhythm and get us back in sync. So the health is a big part, is a part of why we're not in rhythm and not in sync. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've got to. I mean, I certainly have to do a better job. I'm the one in charge of the program, and there's we've got to be better. We can't keep losing like this, and so I need to do a better job with the guys and putting the guys that we do have available into the best positions that they can be in. Um, I think that's very fair. But we're just limited. We're limited in options. If somebody does something wrong, sometimes I'd like to take them out, but I don't have a whole lot. We don't. There's just not a whole lot else to put in, and so that certainly slows down the process of fixing some things.
Coach, recently we've seen several late game pushes that fell short. How do you find what's missing, and also how do you go about fixing what's missing?
Well, I mean, the late game pushes have been great. I mean, that's the plus side is we don't give in and we keep fighting, but we can't let it get that deep. We can't against Vanderbilt we got off to a good start. It was 8-4. It was I think 11-6, and then we lost it. We lost it from about the 12-minute mark to the end of the first half, and we even at the under four we were down 11 or 13, and then it goes from that to 18 or 20 at half. We can't get it back down under 10, and so we have such a wide number to come back from that makes it very, very challenging. And so if we could minimize the damage, if we could minimize the damage early on and not and let it be a 8-0 run as opposed to a 16-0 run, then we'd probably reap some rewards from fighting back at the end.
Over this recent stretch, is there anyone that you've seen, whether verbally or in practice, kind of step up into a leadership role, or anybody that you think needs to step up into that role?
I mean, look, I don't want to keep that between the team. That's a good question, but we certainly, we certainly need leadership. Everything's good when things are coasting along fine, and so when things are rough, that's when you find out what you got, and you need guys to step up and verbalize some things. I think we have made some progress there the last couple days, but we certainly we need to connect on that and have some results for that progress.
In any of your head coaching jobs you've had, have you had a streak like this? Is there a reference point you can go back to say, how you turn this?
No, I've never had this.
Going back to just you guys kind of getting in ruts in the game, just the fact that your team is able to pull themselves out of that, what does that say about them?
I think that's a positive. I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture, but I do think that's a positive that we fight back, we call back, we don't just give up, we don't just give in and just lay down. But we can't put ourselves in those situations. You get no points for trying. Nobody cares about trying. You either win or you lose, and we've been doing a lot of losing. And so, you get no points for effort. Nobody cares about that. Can you get the job done? And we've got to put ourselves in better positions where when we have that fight that, we're not clawing back from so far. Basketball is a game of runs. Other teams are going to make runs. We're going to make runs. We just, we just become too discombobulated too quickly, and it leads to us taking quick shots on offense, which allows them to get runouts. We become too unglued, too fast, and it's something I haven't done. I'm probably going to do starting tomorrow. Obviously, is I'm not a huge fan of using a bunch of timeouts in the first half, but if we need to, we're going to have to. I used the one when it got to 16-11 when they went on a 10-0 run, or I think a 9-0 run. And then maybe I should have used another one when it got to 13. But I'm going to burn my timeouts probably a little bit quicker. My philosophy's always been you got to have them for the end of the game because you got to coach your team. That's when the coach can make the most differences down the stretch. But if we can't get to the end of the game to have a chance, there's no need to have the timeouts.
Well, Pinson, can you hope to get him back and close to 100% this season? And if so, how much difference will that make?
Make all the difference in the world.
It would.
Yes.
In what ways?
If we could get Pinson back close to 100%, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation right now. I know the numbers look. What does he average? 10 points a game or whatever. It's there's so much other stuff that he brings to our team. Not to mention our guys have a ton of confidence in him. But there's so much other stuff he brings to the team. That would be the biggest the biggest thing that could help us is to have him back and as close to 100% as we could have him. We'll see. He's looked better. He looked better. He worked out at Vanderbilt. He looked better. He looked better yesterday. We'll see. We'll see. But, with him back, it goes back to what we were talking about with Sheldon. We have more options. We have more accountability. There's just a lot of different things that can happen with him back and with him being somewhat healthy. So, no, that would make vast majority of the difference.
With some of the defensive breakdowns in the half court over the last couple of games, just what can you change, I guess, stylistically to y'all's defense in the half court?
Well, we're behind the play. We're not communicating as well. Teams are slipping almost every screen against us. A&M will do the same thing tomorrow. They slipped a bunch the other day. We've got to be better on our communication on the slips. We've had some miscommunications. We've had some issues with that, and then our defensive rebounding's let us down too. We've slid all the way to sub 200 in defensive rebounding. We're 206th, I believe, in the country in defensive rebounding, and so we were 60 some odd just a couple weeks ago, and so that's really hurt us, as well. Once they slip, and if you don't handle that initial slip right on the ball screen or any sort of screen, you're just behind the play the rest of the time. It's just a matter of what type shot you're going to give up, what type open shot you're going to give up. And so we've gotten caught behind the play too much, not handling that initial switch right, whether it's a ball screen or off-ball action.
Two-parter. One, are you considering any lineup changes? I know your hands are kind of tied, but because of the short roster, but are you planning any changes? And also, to Ron's question, how do you've never done it before, 6 out of 7, how do you deal with it internally?
Yeah, I would, the first question, yes. There's only so many different roster moves we can make. The biggest thing would tie to Scott's question. If we could get healthy, I would love to go back to what we were doing when we were 14 and whatever we were, 15 and 1, and go back to that lineup and bring the energy off the bench. And because we've been getting off to decent starts, and then it dissipates when we like I said, we were up 11-6, and then it went to 16-11. Then it ballooned up, and so I'd like to bring some of that get back to the rotation that we had. We had such a good 8-man rotation. We were pretty sharp there. So I'd like to get back. I'd like to get back to that. I think that would be a good starting point. And then the second part was, look, you got to battle up. There's things come at you. We've had it's been a pretty good run here for a while. We hadn't had a lot of adversity. And now you gotta. That's why you build your program for times like this, for moments like this, and you gotta battle your way through it. Nobody's gonna help you through it. Nobody's gonna give you anything to get through it, and you gotta work. You gotta double down on attention to detail. You gotta double down on the discipline, and you got to go to work and be sharp. Be sharp with what you're doing, and be sharper with what you're doing. So. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We've done it to ourselves. We have nobody to blame but ourselves, and we're the only ones who can get us out of it. And so we've got to not hope it's going to happen. We got to make it happen. Sometimes, hopefully this is rock bottom. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom before you can move forward. And so hopefully don't get any further down than this, but it could. But we've got to just stay after it and keep trying to shore up some of the things that are really, really hurting us.
I'll be honest, I didn't follow your roster a lot when you were at VCU. But how do you build a team or a program to be a little bit more bulletproof than this? Obviously, Adam going out pushed you to a different plan, and then Xavier going out pushes you to another plan. Is there anything that a coach can do? I know you don't have a crystal ball and you can't see the future of those kinds of things.
It's a good question. First off, there's very few teams that could survive losing two of their lead guards, one for the year and one for a critical month in the season. There's very few. There's just not a lot that can happen. Very few teams can survive that. Houston's doing an unbelievable job right now getting through all that. I look at everything, like I said, there's not a lot. We had, if you look at it going into the year, we had Pinson, we had Gaines, we had Pinson, we had Adam, we had Gaines, and we had Justice, who was going to redshirt. But we basically had 3 point guards. And when you lose 2 of them, there's just not. That's plenty of point guards. You don't really want to carry more than 3 point guards. Although Adam was a combo. The one thing I wish. Look, I overreacted. We hadn't had a lot of big guys. I got too many big guys right now, and we got guys that are not helping us much or not helping us at all. And I wish one of those. Maybe we would have gone and found a wing who could shoot, a big-time shooting wing, or another combo guard maybe. In hindsight, but look, we'll balance that out in the off season. I know what we need to do. I know what needs to happen. But you can always. It's called resulting. You can always look back and say, well, dang, if we'd have known this would have happened, we'd have done that. I did think going into the year we were thin on shooting. And like I said, we're basically carrying 4 centers on the roster. And that's a lot of centers. And we probably needed to convert one of those to a 3-4 who can really shoot. So yeah, I look at all that, but the situation we're in at guard is pretty hard to avoid. We had 4 basic point guards on the roster the first day. We had the injury issue, and we had some of that. So that part's. I'm not sure how much we could have done with that.
And is moving Justice to your full-time point guard, would that alleviate any of those issues because they would let other people be more comfortable in their roles?
I mean, Justice is more of a combo guard than a true point. And if we played him at full-time point guard right now, it wouldn't be good for anybody, including him. He's getting better. He's playing well. He's done some really, really good things for us. But, I mean, he should be playing high school basketball right now. And we've got him playing in the best conference in the country. And so I think he's done a very admirable job. I think he's done a very, very good job. But you got to understand, too, he also got here in August. He didn't go through the summer with us. He didn't go through strength and conditioning with us. There's a lot of stuff he just didn't go through. And so asking him to play full-time point guard for us right now would not be doing the right thing by him or our team. I can promise you, I mean, you know, what we're putting out there is the best options we got right now. May not seem that way, but it's the best we got. If we had some other stuff we could do to shake it up, you know, we'd certainly try it out. But I think Justice has done a very, very nice job.
You mentioned the defensive rebounding. On the season, Efton has one game in double figures with rebounds. Is that, you know, a system of the or a product of the system, or is that an area you think that he needs to grow in?
Well, I think we all need to get better rebounding wise. You know, some of it is, you know, we get cross-matched a lot because of the switching. And so you got to rebound down and you've got to, you know, some of Efton's, it's not his fault. You know, when they've got a bigger guy who's a very good offensive rebounder, we basically just tell him to block him out and make sure that guy doesn't get the ball. Whether you get the ball or not doesn't matter. You just make sure that guy doesn't get the ball. And so some of that's not on Efton, but like I said, we get cross-matched a lot. And when you get cross-matched, it can make rebounding a little more challenging. And we've certainly got to improve there and get better there.
Well, obviously, fans and us in the media probably take the short-term view a lot of times. But one thing y'all have been able to do very well, no matter what, is attract talent, and obviously you have some very talented players coming in next year. Do you think recruits see through the short-term, you know, difficulties or troubles you have about the program?
Yeah, I mean, let me say this. I mean, our fans should be frustrated. Understand that. We're frustrated. Everybody should be frustrated. Everybody should be mad. I think that's good. I think it's good. That means people care. The day people stop caring is the day people stop being frustrated. So, I mean, I'm frustrated. We're all frustrated. And so I think it's great that our fans are upset. That means that they're invested in the program. That means they care. That means they want to win. And I promise you, nobody wants to win more than I do and more than our team does. But, you know, I don't look at that as a negative at all. I mean, I look at that as a positive. That, I mean, can you imagine 4 or 5 years ago? I mean, people were ambivalent to our program. Whatever, just kind of bridge us over between football and baseball. And now people are, you know, excited. Now people are bought in. And it hurts when you're bought in and it doesn't go how you want it to go. It hurts. And so, you know, everybody's got a right to feel that way. I don't blame anybody for feeling that way. But, you know, we're going to come out of it on the other side, you know, whether it's this year or in the future, we're going to be better. We're going to be better. And so, you know, like I said, I appreciate our fans. I appreciate their support. I appreciate their passion. I like that about them. I like that about LSU. Everybody wants to win. And we hadn't won. And when you don't win, people are upset. And that's a totally honest and natural reaction. And it's deserved. You should be upset at us. We hadn't gotten the job done. It's a win or loss business, and we hadn't gotten it done. And so you should be. As it relates to recruiting, the kids don't look at things short term. It's about relationships. It's about system. It's about, you know, development, that sort of thing. And, you know, look, I mean, I tell you what, no matter how this season turns out, we're going to come back roaring next year. We'll be ready to roll. You know, I talked about some of the roster composition. I'll make sure the roster composition's right. We figured out the defensive stuff now. Now I got to balance out the defense and the offense. We've been really great on offense. We've been really great on defense. We've been great on offense. We've been terrible on defense. We've been great on defense. We've been terrible on offense. Now I know the formula. Now, does it suck for our fans? It's taken me 5 years to figure that out, probably. But we've won quite a bit while we've figured it out. But look, I'm not perfect. I'm a young coach. I'm 30, what am I, 38, 39? I don't even know how old I am. What am I, 39? I mean, I wish I was 38. I've made mistakes. We all make mistakes. And I've made mistakes, and I'm going to learn from them. I think, I told everybody in the offseason we get the defense fixed. Well, damn, I got the defense fixed. But, there's some collateral that came with that. Now, with Adam Miller, it wouldn't look nearly as haphazard as it looks right now. But I now understand the balance we have to have with the roster composition between offense and defense. I understand what it takes now to build a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense on the same team, which will give you a chance to cut the nets down. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And it's like I said, there's been some growing pains to get there. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, you've got to have good players. And we've got good players. We've got good players. But, I mean, you look at, Cam Thomas scored 30 the other night in an NBA game and scored 20 yesterday. Trendon Watford getting 8 to 10 every night out for the Blazers. Javante had 36 the other day in a G League game. There's levels to things. And, we've got to balance out, some of the offensive skill with the defensive tenacity. And we got to do that through recruiting. We got to do that through the transfer portal. And we got to do that through developing some of the guys that we have here right now. Because we do have good players. And so, we will do that. And, we're going to do that. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer. Yeah, at the beginning. I gave you all A&M preview at the beginning, right? Yeah. We've been here so long, I can't remember. Sorry.
Is the NCAA tournament something players discuss less today than they did 20 years ago in terms of motivation and late in the year?
No, it's crazy. And I talked about that with our guys. It's funny, I'm not going to say who. One of our kids was like, well, when do they announce the brackets? I said, announce the brackets? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we got to get in the, like we, and here's what's happened a little bit. And this is what's happened with the team. So you've always heard me say appreciation's the currency of success. So when your appreciation and your entitlement gets out of whack a little bit, like we just think we're entitled to make the tournament. We're not entitled to anything. All right? You have to earn it. Thing's hard to get into. I've been a coach for a long time. I've been a part of a lot of teams that have made it. It's hard to get into. And I went through that exercise a couple of weeks ago with y'all with Virginia and how they built it and made it. And I mean, hell, the year we went to the Final Four, most people didn't think we could get in. I've been a part of teams that probably deserved to get in more than that team. And so, it's tough. It's hard. And, we got some guys, and I've told them this, like, we got some guys who have been here and been a part of the tournaments, but they hadn't done a whole lot to get us there. And so they don't understand how difficult, that's not a knock on anybody. They don't understand how difficult it is to make it. It's hard. It's very, very hard. And we're going to have to battle our tail off to make it. And so, the appreciation for how difficult it is to be successful and how difficult the margins are to win, I think we've lost a little bit of that. And that kind of ties into Sheldon's question at the beginning. What happened with our team was, the beginning of the year, if you'd have asked me at the beginning of the year, you asked our team at the beginning of the year. I'll be done here in a minute, Ken. I know you're getting nervous. If you'd have asked us at the beginning of the year, with Adam Miller, we were picked 6th in the league. We'd have said, all right, let's just make the NCAA tournament. Let's just find a way to get in the tournament. All right. Then we lose at them, and it's like, whoa. Everybody, I mean, look, we had a room full of guys. I addressed them the next day. They were shook. Everybody was shook. And I tried to inject as much confidence and as much life into us as I could. But we were worried about how good we were going to be. Everybody, coaches, players, everybody, doubting kind of, how's this going to go? We can sit up here when we were 14-0 and say, oh, we knew it was going to be like that or whatever we were. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. But we were unbelievably attentive to details, unbelievably attentive to everything that had to happen, which is why we won. The strength of our team was the strength of our team. Does that make sense? Our biggest strength was our team. Then when you start winning, and you guys think I'm crazy when I come in here and start going off on things when we're winning. Winning gets things out of whack a little bit. People don't think we're winning because of our team. They think we're winning because I did this and I did that and I need to do more of this and I got this going on and I got that going on. And when that stuff starts seeping in, you don't win because that's not our strength. Does that make sense? Last year we could win like that. Last year we could win like that. And so what's happened is, yeah, we got a lot of the same parts that we had when we were winning big, but some of the other stuff has crept in, and we're not as detailed as we need to be in the scouting. We're not as detailed as we need to be with what we're doing. We're not as good as we need to be as a team. And it's not nearly as individualistic as maybe it's been the last couple of years, but we also don't have, some of the top-end talent that we've had the last couple of years. Not to say we don't have very good players. We don't have very talented players. We don't have players that can play at the next level. We got all that. But there's, Cam scoring 30 at 19 years old in an NBA game. We don't have anybody who scored 30 in a college game for us this year. Facts, right? Right? I mean, Tari's done great. He had 28 on Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, there's levels to things. And so when you lose the sense of the team, and it becomes a little bit more fragmented. Not that we're fragmented, but it becomes a little bit more, because of the team, I was able to do this, and then you think it's because of you were able to do that. And when you start losing, then things kind of go off kilter. That's what I was talking about with rock bottom. Hopefully now we can bring it back together. And to your point, that's where X was great. Ain't nobody sacrificed. Think about this now. You guys want to know why I gush about Xavier Pinson? Nobody sacrificed more for our success than Xavier Pinson. He took less shots than he was taking at Missouri. He was scoring 4 less points a game for us than he was at Missouri. He embodied everything that we wanted, and he could tell everybody, I've sacrificed the most, I've put the most on the line, so you're going to do this. He had done that. Go look at it. He averaged 15 a game at Missouri. He's averaging 10 a game for us. Look at his assist numbers through the roof here compared to Missouri. So when I answer the question that, yeah, he solves everything, 1, he gives us the confidence back. 2, he gives us the swagger back. And 3, he embodies the team spirit that we had that first part of the season. And he can hold everybody else accountable to doing what needs to happen for the team to win because he's the one who sacrificed the most to make it happen.